Okay, so what if I told you that inside every dense, complicated research paper, the ones you see in the news, there's basically a secret key, a single sentence that, once you find it, pretty much unlocks the whole thing.
I mean, you know that feeling, right? You're trying to wrap your head around some new study on health or technology or whatever, but you just get buried in all this data and technical jargon. It feels totally impenetrable. Well, here's the good news. It really doesn't have to be that way.
So that key, it's called the purpose statement. And honestly, it's probably the single most important sentence in any study. Today, we're going to learn how to spot it, understand it, and use it to become instantly smarter readers. Let's dive in and see how it all works.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about research's North Star, the core idea. Then we'll get into the two main flavors, the qualitative quest and the quantitative equation. And finally, we'll see how you get the best of both worlds when researchers mix them up. Okay, let's start with part one, research's North Star. This is all about finding that core intent. See, every piece of research is a journey, right? And every journey needs a North Star. That guiding light, the thing that gives the whole project its direction and focus, well, that's the purpose statement.
A great way to think about research is like a funnel. You start with this huge, broad problem. Like, let's take the example here. People are refusing to get vaccinated for COVID. I mean, that's way too big to study all at once. So the purpose statement comes in and narrows it right down, giving it focus. Something like, to identify the factors behind that refusal. Then you can ask specific questions and collect data. That purpose statement is the crucial link that makes the whole study work.
And here's the formal definition, just so we're all on the same page. The purpose statement is that single sentence, or sometimes a short paragraph, that states the central intent or aim of the study. It is the organizing idea. Everything else, the questions asked, the data collected, the final conclusions, it all has to serve this one statement. So if you can find this sentence, you've basically found the heart of the entire study.
Yeah, and this quote from our source material absolutely nails it. The purpose statement indicates why the researcher conducts the study and what the study intends to accomplish. It's all about the why and the what. Why are they even doing this study and what do they hope to achieve? Once you know that, believe me, the rest of the paper starts to make a whole lot more sense.
But here's where things get really interesting. Not all purpose statements are built the same way. Nope, they're actually tailored to the kind of research being done. So let's start with our first type, the qualitative quest. This is all about exploring the deep why and how behind our human experiences.
Think of qualitative research as being a detective or an explorer. The goal isn't to prove a point, but to deeply understand one single topic, what researchers call a central phenomenon. And the language gives it away. You'll see these open-ended words like explore, understand, discover. It's not about proving something right or wrong, it's just about uncovering meaning.
And this is brilliant because it shows just how simple the structure can be. A lot of the time, researchers follow a kind of script. First, they state their intent. The purpose of this qualitative study is, then they add that action verb and the phenomenon to explore the experiences of. And finally, they identify who and where for first-year teachers at Northwood High. It's like a formula for discovery. Super helpful.
Okay, let's switch gears completely. If qualitative research is an open-ended exploration, then quantitative research is much more like an equation. It's all about measuring, comparing, and testing relationships between different factors in a really structured way.
And this comparison? Man, it tells the whole story, doesn't it? Where qualitative wants to explore and discover, quantitative is all about trying to relate, compare, and test. It's really the difference between asking, so what's this like, versus how much does this thing affect that thing?
The script for a quantitative purpose statement is just as clear, but you'll notice the language is totally different. Here, it's all about testing a theory. You'll see the word variables pop up a lot. The independent variable, that's the thing the researcher's looking at as a potential cause, and the dependent variable is what they measure, the potential effect. The whole study is designed just to see if the first one actually influences the second.
Okay, so we've got the why from qualitative research and the what or how much from quantitative. But what happens when you smash them together? Well, you get mixed methods, and it's a super powerful approach that really aims to get the complete picture.
This approach can work in a few different ways, as you can see here. Sometimes, researchers collect both the numbers and the stories at the same time to get a really complete picture. That's convergent. Other times, they start with the numbers and then use stories to explain why the numbers look the way they do. That's explanatory.
And then there's exploratory, where you start with the stories to figure out what questions you should even be asking on a big survey later. Each design gives you this unique, powerful insight you couldn't get otherwise. Look, if you remember just one thing from this section, let it be this. Mixed methods research combines the what, the hard data, with the why, the human stories and the context. It really is the best of both worlds.
So, we've gone through the theory, the different scripts, the different approaches, but let's bring this all back to you. What does this all mean? How does this actually change the way you read a news article or see a post about some new study?
At the end of the day, understanding the purpose statement is like having a critical thinking superpower. It is your key to unlocking any study you come across. It shows you what the researcher's true goal was, and that helps you see if they were just exploring with an open mind or if they were trying to prove a specific point from the get-go. It just makes you a smarter, more critical, and way more confident reader of, well, pretty much everything.
So here's my challenge to you. The next time you're reading about some new scientific breakthrough or a surprising social trend, don't just read the headline. Dig a little deeper. Try to find that one sentence, that purpose statement. Ask yourself, what was their North Star? Because I promise you, once you find it, everything else will just click into place.